The best way to understand agentic AI is to think about the difference between it and a type of AI that we've become more and more familiar with, and that's generative AI. Now, generative AI for many people is basically ChatGPT. You write in a question you're interested in, and ChatGPT generates an answer to that question. Now, that answer might be good or it might be bad, it might be reliable or it might be slightly less reliable, but we've all got used to that idea of asking a question and seeing the answer generated, and that's generated by generative AI. It's also become incorporated in, for example, Google search. What Google now do is that they search the internet, they get the answer back, and then they generate an answer based on the data that they've got back from that search. So when you ask Google now a question, it doesn't just give you a list of websites that might be relevant, it tries to put those websites together into one answer which explains what you might think if you read all of those websites. That's what it tries to do with generative AI. Now, agentic AI is different. Actually, let me just think of one more thing before I introduce agentic AI. If you ask generative AI, if you go into ChatGPT and you say, write me some code to generate the numbers 1 to 10, to print out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so you might say, for numbers equals 1 to 10, print whatever you want to do with your code. And it will provide you with that code. And generative AI can certainly produce code. It can produce code in lots of different programming languages. But what agentic AI does is it then decides to run that code. So if you put that question into agentic AI, and now we're thinking, if ChatGPT is the sort of breakthrough in generative AI, I would say often we're thinking about Claude when we're thinking about the breakthrough in agentic AI. Both companies have both types, but that's often what we think. If we put that into Claude and we say, I'd like to generate numbers between 1 to 10, it will write the code and then it will execute the code. It will actually run the code as well. And that's the agentic part. It decides that it's going to take actions, that it has agency over the types of tasks you give it. While the generative AI will just generate text and even generate computer code, the agentic AI will actually run that code and provide you an answer. Now, this seems like quite a small change, especially if we're just thinking about the example of printing the numbers 1 to 10. Okay, you get the numbers 1 to 10 out instead of the code. But once you start to build up layers of that agentic AI, when it decides to call different agents and do different tasks, it becomes more and more complicated and is able to carry out more and more complicated tasks. Now, we'll certainly come to all of that as we go along. What I want to get in your mind right now is the biggest difference is the idea that you can run code after you've generated it with agentic AI, which you weren't previously doing with generative AI. The best way to illustrate this is, of course, through an example. So let's use agentic AI. In this case, we'll use Claude to answer a statistical question from a scientific research project.